Curran continues to fire back.
The first Ultimate Fighting Championship event of 2021, UFC Fight Island 7, took place in January 2021. Despite the global health situation, there were championship battles, new champions, and breakout talents in 2020. With the arrival of 2021 and presumably better circumstances, there will be more opportunities for fighters to make a name for themselves. We'll look at 9 UFC fighters that could have a breakout year in 2021 to help put the emphasis on up-and-comers to keep an eye on. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the new videos we post. Featherweight, Movsar Evloev, 13-0. Coming into the UFC, Evloev had a lot of buzz because he was the reigning M1 Challenge Bantamweight champion. He went up to featherweight when he joined the UFC, 145 pounds. He's won 3 fights since entering the octagon, including his most recent victory against Mike Grundy. On Saturday, he'll face veteran Nick Lentz, who would be a fantastic name to have on his resume. A win versus Lentz would be a fantastic start to Evloev's 2021 season. Flyweight, Sue Maderji, 13-4. Maderji entered the UFC in late 2018, fresh off a loss. Many competitors find it tough to break into the UFC after long winning streaks, let alone make it to the main event after a loss. With that stated, Maderji must have impressed the UFC enough for him to get signed off with the loss. Maderji's debut didn't go as planned, as he was defeated by Louis Smolka. Since then, he has defeated Andre Sukumthath and knocked out Malcolm Gordon in less than a minute. Maderji received a Performance of the Night bonus in the Gordon fight. Sue's next opponent is Zaruch Adashev, who is a good matchup for him. Welterweight, Sean Brady, 13-0. One of the few times in recent memory that an American prospect has made it to the UFC without having to compete in the Contender Series, Sean Brady was a high-profile prospect who made his UFC debut in 2019. Brady was pitted against veteran Court McGee right away, putting him to the test. He won the fight, although it wasn't the best, yet he went on to beat a very good Ismail Nordiev next. Brady earned a Performance of the Night bonus in his last fight after a spectacular guillotine finish against Christian Aguilera. Brady will square up against Jake Matthews in the first quarter of 2021. Matthews is a fighter who has improved in the UFC over time, so this is a crucial battle for both guys. Dalcha champion Lungiambula, middleweight. Africa was starting to have a presence in the UFC after the thrilling introductions of Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and Francis Ngannou during the last few years. Usman and Adesanya are still champions in their respective divisions, while Ngannou is the current heavyweight division's top contender. Lungiambula, a Congolese native, entered the UFC after 4 years of dominance in the Extreme Fighting Championship. While competing for the company, he won the light heavyweight title twice. His dominance in South Africa secured him a UFC deal, and he made his light heavyweight debut against Daquan Townsend in June 2019, bringing the bout to a close with a stunning 2-punch combo. He faced number 11 ranked light heavyweight contender Magomed Ankalaev in his second fight, and Ankalaev knocked Dalcha out with a stunning front kick. He lowered a weight category to middleweight after a year away from the UFC. In the second fight event of 2021, he defeated Marcus Perez by unanimous decision. With his large body and deadly knockout power, Lungiambula will be a major nuisance in the middleweight category if he can establish a nice run against some ranked opponents. Yan Fury Xiaonan strawweight. Yan was the first Chinese female fighter to compete in the Ultimate Fighting Championship when she joined in 2017. There are now 9 Chinese competitors competing in all weight divisions. One of them is a champion, Weili Zhang, who is still the strawweight division's current champion. Yan, who is only 31, still has plenty of fight left in her, and as the world's number 12 pound-for-pound women's fighter and number 3 in the strawweight division, I wouldn't be surprised to see her challenge for the title before the end of 2021. She is 6-0 since entering the UFC, which is certainly one of the reasons why she is one of the top 10 UFC fighters to watch in 2021. However, with all of her fights lasting the distance, we haven't seen the best of Yan yet, with her knockout power not being displayed in the UFC as it has been in other promotions, with 5 of her first 9 fights ending in a TKO KO. Is it possible that a UFC event will take place in China this year? Xiaonan versus Zhang, now that would be a match to see. Cyril Bongaman Gain, heavyweight. There's a new heavyweight contender in town. Cyril Gain has gone from being an unknown rookie to a number 7 ranked top-ranked heavyweight contender in just over 18 months with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Even Gane wouldn't have expected such a rapid climb after only 3 professional fights prior to joining the UFC. Gane made his UFC debut in August 2019 and had 2 more fights in October and December of the same year, quickly fitting into life in the UFC. Both Rafael Pessoa and Dontel Mays were submitted, while Tanner Boser was defeated by unanimous decision. With these 3 consecutive UFC victories, he was 7-0 in the UFC heading into the biggest fight of his career against ex-UFC heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos. We had no idea if Gane had any knockout power until this fight, when he burst midway through the second round at UFC 256, hitting a powerful elbow to the side of JDS's skull. As a result, he was folded up and the fight was called there. Next up for Gane is Jairzinho Rozenstruik, one of the most feared heavyweights in the division, with victories over 2 former heavyweight champions in Andrei Arlovski and Junior Dos Santos, as well as a devastating finish of one of the best fighters of all time in Alistair Overeem. It is easy to see why he's listed as the world's number 3 heavyweight contender. Coming into this fight, Gane will need all of his wits about him. If he can evade Rozenstruik's hands and take him to the ground as well, I can see him taking the W home with him. Jiri Denisa Prochaska, light heavyweight. We have one of the top light heavyweight contenders in the UFC who is poised for a title fight within the next 12 months, currently on a 10-bout victory streak. You probably think I'm crazy with only 1 UFC fight under his belt, but Jiri has won his last 9 fights by TKO or knockout. The Czech behemoth is poised for stardom with some significant firepower in his hands and stature on his side. When Prochaska ascended to number 5 in the light heavyweight category, a lot of heads turned. But looking at his resume, it's easy to see why, with only 2 of his 30 fights going the distance. Jiri was supposed to fight number 3 rated Dominic Reyes at UFC 257, but the fight has been postponed due to Reyes' injury. There are plenty of bouts to be had in the light heavyweight division, with athletes like Teixeira, Santos, Reyes, and Rakic in the top 5. Because everything is so close up there, a win for Jiri over Reyes may lead to a showdown with champion Blachowicz. Who wouldn't want to watch a super fight between Europeans for the light heavyweight title? Amanda Ribas, strawweight. Amanda Ribas is the second woman on the list. Amanda Ribas's excitement in the cage is unrivaled. She is presently ranked number 10 in the UFC strawweight rankings after 4 wins in her first 5 fights. Since her debut against Emily Whitmire in 2019, Ribas has won 4 consecutive fights, including a major submission victory against Paige Van Zandt. Everything seemed to be going well for the young Brazilian, but a major setback against number 6 strawweight contender Marina Rodriguez earlier this year has pushed her back, even though the stoppage was questionable. With no fight on the horizon, Ribas will have to establish herself in a few more battles against top 10 fighters before a fight against Weili Zhang is to be in the works. Lerone the Miracle Murphy, featherweight. The Miracle Lerone Murphy, a miracle, is the only Englishman on the list, and there are many reasons to keep an eye on this young man from Manchester. Murphy is 7-0-1 in his professional career without a loss, with his one blemish, a draw, coming in his UFC debut against Zubera Tukogov. His other 2 fights were against Ricardo Ramos and Douglas Silva de Andrade, the latter of which he won by unanimous decision on the Chiesa vs. Magny show on January 20th, 2021. But the fight has always been there for Lerone Murphy, since not many people can say they've been shot twice in the face and gone on to fight in the UFC, but he can. His nickname, The Miracle, is derived from this. Is his inclusion in the top 10 UFC fighters to watch in 2021, however, a miracle? Could Murphy follow in the footsteps of Michael Bisping, Darrell Till, and Leon Edwards, among other English greats? With his UFC career only beginning, only time will tell. Murphy is meant to build a reputation for himself in the featherweight division, and he will fight to the death against any opponent. And there you have it, some of the top UFC prospects to watch this 2021. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our new and upcoming content. Thanks for watching.